Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So it's that time again where we talk about all the books I read in January and we pick my Feb TBR. Isn't it crazy that we're already in Feb? I swear though, January went for 72 weeks. It was a long one. So first we're going to go through all the books that were on my January TBR and if I read them or not, and then we're going to talk about the books I read and the ratings I gave everything. So on my January TBR I had Never Lie by Frida McFadden, Happy Place by Emily Henry, Flawless by Elsie Silver, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, and What We Saw by Aaron Hartzler. So clearly I didn't read that one. So out of my 5 books on my TBR, I read 4 of them, and that's my best TBR I've ever had. I never usually even read like 3 of them, so to read 4 out of 5, I'm very proud of myself. This month I actually read 6 books, and that's a chunky for me. I usually only read like 5 or 4. 6, obviously only 1 more, but I'm proud of myself. I would say I'm a relatively slow reader. Like I probably read more books in a month than a lot of people, but equally I don't read like nearly as many as certain other people. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? The first book I read for January was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. Now I rated this a 5-star, loved this book. I clearly am just in my thriller era, or just I feel like I never really read thriller books until the end of last year. I'd read a few in like passing, but like nothing like I was just like constantly thinking about. But what I love about Frida McFadden is her writing is so easy to read and so easy to follow. But going into this one, so I've read the Housemaid series, which is 3 books, and I've read One by One, which I read in December. And going into this book, I have wanted to read it for a very long time, but I had just before reading it seen a person do a review where he says this book is quite different to her other books. Like once you get used to her writing and like the Housemaid books and all them, you read this and be like, oh, this is a bit different. And I would agree, but I like how it was different and I wasn't easily guessing the plot, because in other books some people would hate it, but you could quite easily see where the book was going. You could read the plot, you would know what was coming next. But I feel like in this book I actually had no idea and I did not guess the ending at all. So I feel like that is why I get rated a 5-star. And it's just so easy to read. I think I read this in like 1 or 2 days. Like that's how you want to start a new year reading, really. You okay? Go on. Right when I'm recording. He doesn't want to spend time with me normally, just when I'm doing this. The next book I read was Happy Place by Emily Henry. Now, I rated this book a 3.5 star. I probably went into this book too high of expectations. Also, though, yeah, so I probably went into this book with too high of expectations, but also equally I wanted to have high expectations because I really wanted to like her writing and her as an author, because I wanted to give her some redemption, because I probably went into reading her books with one of the worst books you could read to begin with, and I did not enjoy that one. So I really wanted to enjoy this, and I did enjoy it. I just wasn't really that invested in the characters, to be completely honest. Don't go out there and stay in here. Bye then. You coming in or going out? Did find at certain points I just found it kind of boring. Like it was the same thing going on. Like we get it, you like each other but you're not together, basically. That was the whole vibe I was getting off. But in saying that, towards the end I started highlighting a lot more. Like I started highlighting quotes and I probably resonated more towards the end with the characters, and I just found it more enjoyable towards the end. Hence why I gave it 3.5. I was like, because I've rated certain romances 3s in the past, I'm like, it wasn't as bad as them. It was definitely a step up from You and Me on Vacation, which I rated a 2. So a 2 to a 3.5, but sounds pretty good. Would I read more Emily Henry? I'm still on the fence, because if this is supposedly the book that everyone loves, and I've only given 5-star, and I've only given the 3.5, I'm like, maybe she's just not the author for me, and I'm okay with that. And keeping on the romance train, the next book I read was Flawless by Elsie Silver. I got given this book for Christmas, and saying that it wouldn't have been my first choice. I had no idea what I was going into. I just knew it was about a bull rider, and that's literally the whole plot of the story pretty much. It's this bull rider, he gets like a babysitter. He's an adult man, but he gets like a babysitter to keep him in line, kind of, and they fall in love, like, no. What did I rate this? I rated this a 3-star, so also not awful. Not the best, not awful. I was gonna rate a 2.5, but I'm like, no, it wasn't that bad. It's just, there's more books in this series. I think two more, 3 more. I'm pretty sure it's 2 more. I will not be continuing it, I don't think. But in saying that, my sister's read this series and she said that this is probably her least favourite. So I'm like, I don't know, I might pick up the other books later down the line. I just don't think I'm in the mood to read them now. I did not really like some people love like bull riders and stuff in books. I just didn't care. Did not care. Lots of smart, so you'll probably enjoy it if you like smart. Not for me. And that's alright. You don't have to love every book. That's fine. Now, the next book I read, I did love. Next book I read was Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. Now, when I went in, so I've read Throne of Glass, and there's a whole debate, like, what do you read first? Like, there's Assassin's Blade or Throne of Glass, which one do you read? And I was like, it's basically said if you don't want spoilers, like, stuff in Assassin's Blade happens first, but I don't really care about it, whatever. The person I saw read Throne of Glass, then Crown of Midnight, and then Assassin's Blade. That could be really wrong, but I don't think it's really gonna matter too much to me, because I'm usually confused anyway, so. But I read Crown of Midnight. Oh my. I was literally so giddy reading this book in certain points, and then I was literally like, oh, well, just got my hopes up for nothing. 5-star, loved this book. So far it's a 5-star series, so that's a good start. I keep doing these really crazy eyes, and I really gotta stop. 5-star, loved the characters, loved the... So I picked this book for, I think my prompt was Friends to Lovers, and I picked it not knowing they would be, but I assumed from the first book, and they were. Was it for as long as I wanted? No, not particularly, but whatever. Love Selena, love Kale. The characters in this book, I love them. I love them together, and knowing that they might not be together in the other books kills my soul. Love this book. I hope to get another one of this book in Feb. Now, the next book I read, Onyx Storm. It's a beauty, isn't it? It's a bit of a chunker, not as big as Iron Flame though. So I bought this on the release date, and I went into this book not particularly remembering, like, I remembered the end of Iron Flame, which I think was the most important. The struggle with this book was so many characters, like, not even just main characters, so many side characters that were mentioned so often. I'm like, I don't know who you are. Towards the end of the book, I did, like, begin to realize who certain people were, which is good. I rated this a 5-star. I'm still thinking on it if it's going to be a 6-star, because I rated Fourth Wing a 6-star, which I knew instantly it was a 6-star. I could not stop thinking about it. I rated Iron Flame a 5, and I rated this a 5. So I honestly think it has the potential to be a 6-star. I've just got to, like, sit on it and be like, yeah, that's a 6-star. Loved how solid Xaden and Violet were for once in their life. Loved that. Obviously minus his problem, but they not, like, nowhere near as much toxicity as all the previous books, which I appreciate, because you love some toxicness, but you don't want it to be someone's entire relationship with someone. You gotta feel bad at that point. I love Riddick. Riddick holds a special place in my heart. He is so funny, which is so weird to read like a fantasy book like this, like so like intense and stuff like that, and just have a funny side character. He's hilarious. I love Riddick. I want a book dedicated to Riddick. Yeah, I just loved all the characters. I would love to see more of Sawyer and Jacinia, if you know, you know. Just all these characters are amazing, and they have so many redemption arcs in this book. Like so many of the characters, like Dane, how did he go from an asshole to being such a sweetie? I'm sorry, I'm just very passionate about this book. But the problem now, the next book's not going to be released until 2027. Rebecca, you and me have some talking to do, okay? Now, the final book I read for Jan, I actually finished yesterday, and that was When the Moon Hatched. Now, I'm in between rating this a 2.5 and a 3 because this is taking me so long to read. I went into this book with so many people, I had so many mixed reviews of people saying, oh, it was such a good fantasy read, and other people having DNF'd it, like so many people had DNF'd it, but then so many people had said, oh, it's such a good book, like it got me hooked and everything. I was like, okay, I've given so many other books the benefit of the doubt, I'll just give you the benefit of the doubt. Should I have? I'm still on the fence. Obviously in the Fourth Wing books, they've got dragons. This book, they've got dragons. So I was like, oh, I love it. I love a good dragon. Did I love it? I actually really enjoyed, I think, the storyline. See, this is the problem here, right? I enjoyed the storyline, but what could I tell you what happened? I have no idea what happened, but how did I enjoy it? That makes no sense. If someone, it's one of those books when like people are like, oh, what happened? I'm like, read it for yourself. I have no idea what happened, no clue, but it had me hooked. So, and I also went into this book like, oh, she's the main character's an assassin, and I love Selena in Throne of Glass, and she's an assassin, so I'm gonna love the book. I probably went in thinking, oh, I love all these other things in other books, and then it's in this book, I'm gonna love it. So many big words, I have no idea what they meant. I'm just like, I don't know what you're saying. So I'm in between rating and 2.5 and a 3 because I did enjoy it, but if I didn't understand what was happening, how much did I really enjoy it? Like, do you know what I'm saying? So what do I rate it? Like thinking, did I enjoy it more than the romance books I read? But I feel like they're very different spectrums. Like romance books are so easy to read compared to this. So I still don't know. 2.5, 3. Who knows? Really don't know. So they're the 6 books I read in January, and I'm very proud of myself. What, I had 2 romance, 3 fantasy, and 1 thriller. Technically, majority of them are romance, but they're not romance. Anyway, so I didn't read What We Saw, but I'm sure I'll get to it eventually. Now, the best part of this video, I get to pick the books I'm going to read in notice how I keep saying Feb because I really struggle to say February. See, I think I have to use the R in it. It's just February. Okay, you got this. I can't wait. I think so. I'm in between picking 5 or 6. I'm in between picking 5 or 6 books because I read 6, but I like to give myself leeway in case I want to read a different book, but then maybe I shouldn't do that because then I'm just thinking about that book. So maybe I will pick 6. You know, aim high. My goal is 60 books this year. I'm ready ahead of time. Gotta keep that momentum going, okay? So I think I'm going to pick 6 books for my February TBR. I'm so excited. This is the best part of my month, honestly. First TBR prompt. A book with red on the cover. Okay, well, first, let's think of some books I want to get to this month. I was in the middle of reading Harry Potter books. I have 2 left, and then just suddenly I just stopped one day and I just forgot about them completely. So I'd really love to get to the 6th Harry Potter book. It's orange though, so that's unfortunate. I have a vampire fantasy book. I've never read one of them. That could be interesting. But my issue then is I don't know if I want to start another fantasy book because like, that's not in a series because I have the Harry Potter books and then I have the Throne of Glass books, and I really want to continue the Throne of Glass books. Love to get to the Inheritance games as well. And you know what, let's just chuck and keep in 13 to keep things interesting because I love a little bit of heartbreak apparently. So a book with red on the cover. So it doesn't have to be fully red, it just has to have red on the cover. Now, let's look at my options. The Serpent and the Wings of the Night, red on the cover. This is the vampire fantasy book. And I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's a series though. Do I want to start out the series? I probably shouldn't. I should probably learn to finish a book first. That could be wise. Don't really know what this is about. I just know it's vampires and that's interesting to me. Red on the cover. Too bad that's the third one. Can't read that. Could read Sword Catcher by Cassandra Clare. Is this also a fantasy? I believe it is. And I did start it. I feel like if I want to read this, I need to just give my full attention to it, and I don't think this is the month for that. Because I was really interested in this book when I first bought it, and then I started reading, I got let down, so I just kind of lost momentum for it, I feel. To be honest, I don't have many books with red on the cover. I wish Harry Potter had some red on the cover, but it's pretty orange. It's a bit sad, isn't it? This has red on the cover. Keeping 13, the second book in the Boys of Tommen series. I feel like I do need to read this book now or never, because if I don't, I'm going to have it sitting on my cart like I did with Binding 13 for freaking months and months and months. It is another series, but I feel like it's because it's like a romance series, I could get away with it, because pretty much all my other series I'm reading are fantasy. So it's out of these two books, and I'm gonna go with Keeping 13, because I feel like if I get into this and I really enjoy it, I have to go buy, like, okay, they're both series, so I'd have to buy this next one anyway, but I'm in the middle of so many fantasy series that I think this one would push me over the edge and make me not enjoy it. So we'll put this back. I'm sure I'll pick it up eventually. So this is the first book on my Feb TBR for a book with red on the cover. Can't wait to read it. It's a chunky girl, chunky girl. Now, the next book. Pick my anime TBR. A book that was published last year. I hate these prompts because I don't know what was published last year. I'm not like that kind of book girl that knows all this stuff. Well, it definitely wasn't Harry Potter, unfortunately. Was this published last year? That would be really ideal. Let me do some research. This was published in 2023. That's really sad because I would have loved. See, the next book was published last year. That's probably why I'm getting confused. I really have no idea what was published last year. I'm terrible at this. When was the Inheritance Games published? Damn it, that was in 2020. Do I have any? What about these? I think the blue one's first. 2022, nice. I honestly don't think I have any. Yes, I've got one, guys. I'm so excited. So for that prompt, it was a book published last year, and I've had this book on my TBR cart for probably like 6-7 months, and it was published on the 21st of May 2024, and that is You Like It Darker by Stephen King. I'm so excited to read this. I randomly picked it up one day because I was like, I haven't read a Stephen King book in so long. I love his writing. He's one of my favorite authors. My mum would love that. She also loves Stephen King. Because Red Fairy Tale, one of my all-time favorite books ever, still think about it to this day. We'll have to do a reread. I really like The Institute, really good. I've watched the movies, lots of them. I haven't honestly read too many of his books, but I love his books, so I probably should read more. But honestly, shops near me don't really have his books, which I find kind of strange, but whatever. This book, I think it's a mixture of different stories from what I'm getting on the back, because it says each of these stories holds its own thrills, joys, and mysteries. Each feels iconic. So I'm guessing it's like all little stories in between the books. So this should be fun. And I actually will get to it this month because it's been on my TBR a lot of times now. So I'm going to get to it this time. So this is the second book on my TBR, a book that was published last year. I honestly didn't think I'd have one, but clearly I do. Let's get the third one. Enemies to Lovers. I I hate these prompts. I really do, because I don't know what books and it is enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers. In Butcher and the Blackbird are they enemies to lovers? I know they're serial killers, but I don't know anything else. Let me look up if Butcher and the Blackbird is enemies to lovers. Oh, yep. Butcher and the Blackbird is considered an enemies to lovers romance. Now, the only thing I know about this book is they're murderers, they're rivals, form a relationship, I'm guessing, because enemies to lovers. Yeah, so it's a dark romance. I've never read a dark romance, so this should be interesting. Very small read, love that. So hopefully it's easy read. I just know there's some interesting sex scenes, I believe, or sexual things happening. Yeah, so I'm really going into this, the unknown. Really unsure how I'm going to feel about a dark romance. Maybe I'll enjoy it more than a romance. I really hope not, because what does that say about me? So this is the third prompt for this is the third book of my TBR. Enemies to lovers. I'm very excited. Let's pick our fourth prompt. I love picking it out of there. It's literally the best part of my day. A book you've been putting off reading. Okay. Well, that could be Harry Potter, because I have been putting it off. Because, one, I don't want to finish a series, and two, I just find them sometimes quite slow to read. But I love them. So this one could be it. I have been putting it off though. And I don't really see many other books I've been putting off. Am I a cheat? Probably. But I'm going to go with Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I really just want to finish the series. And I have been putting it off. It's been a couple months since I read a Harry Potter book. So I think this counts. So this is the fourth book of my TBR, a book I've been putting off reading. I'm very excited to get back into this world. Okay, the fifth prompt. Jeez, I'm gonna have to read fast this month because there's some hefty books. A book someone you love also wants to read. Okay. Well, so me and my sister Lacey got the Inheritance games for Christmas. I know she's already read them or started them, but we both wanted to read them. So does that count? I know she wanted to read them. So and this is like one of the only, we have quite different, I'd say, taste in books. Like she's more leans towards more romance. She loves fantasy, but like if we were to both pick, I feel like hers would be more towards fantasy. So a book someone you love also wants to read. I think I'm gonna go with the Inheritance games because she wanted to read this just as much as I did. Yeah, so we both wanted to read this. She's already read it, but I feel like that's a fair one to pick because we both got the same time. She's just quicker reading it than I am, clearly. All I know about this book is that this girl gets left a fortune, and I believe it's like a love triangle. I don't really have anything else to go on. I just know everyone that reads it loves it. So this is for the fifth prompt of a book someone you love also wants to read. I've got the Inheritance games, and I'm very excited to read it. It's also another series, so I'm really setting myself up here just to only read series for the foreseeable future. Now, the last prompt, what do I want? I really want to get one of these books. One of my Throne of Glass books. That would be really, really nice of you. So the title starts with the. Well, there you go. Isn't that so fun? The Assassin's Blade. I just literally manifested that. Oh, I'm so excited. So I believe this is set before the Throne of Glass. So the Throne of Glass begins, but this is like the backstory, I believe, of Selena. So really, you could read this first, but so many people don't because it's really like published afterwards, so it doesn't even matter. But I'm very excited to read this. I wonder if I'll enjoy it as much because it is set before and it doesn't have characters I love, but I'm so excited. So this is the sixth and final prompt, title with a book. Wait. The title starts with the. I'm so excited. Guys, is that not, wow, I've got so many orange, like yellowy books. Does that not look so exciting? I wonder, I honestly, I'm not sure if I'll get to all these. But these are the 6 books I'm reading in February, hopefully. No more TBR, so I don't like to be a failure, so really will try. What am I most excited for? I'm actually really excited to read the Stephen King book because I haven't read a book by his in so long. Really curious about this dark romance. So excited to get back into Harry Potter. Wonder if I'll still enjoy it as much. Surely, I love Harry Potter. Heartbreak, probably, but still happy to experience it with them. So curious about this and so curious about this because I'm just like, how I feel because it's set before, and this because I have no idea. So this is the 6 books I'll be hopefully reading in February. So I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope it was interesting. I found myself enjoying it very much, and I'll probably do some more big book videos this month, but if I don't, I'll see you at the end of Feb for my book reviews for the month and see what be interesting to see if I read all these books. If I pick up some other books, probably will, because I love to spend money on books apparently, so who doesn't? I hope you enjoyed my video and I'll see you again in my next one. Bye!